It's time for the Yacht Club Show.
Needed now more than ever.
With Killer, Rev D, and Dr. Jim.
Talking about this multitude of issues, all the chaos right now it seems like this country is facing, and your point was maybe the Speaker of the House thing is not keeping you up at night, that it's like it's not really impacting your daily life right now.
My life hasn't changed, and at some point they're going to have to figure out what to do. Yeah. And so at that point I'll worry about it. But it's not, I haven't seen any change in the country. It is dysfunctional. They're crazy, but they'll get it figured out at some point when it's a crisis.
There's one thing that nags at me. I don't know how you guys feel about it. There is an unspoken, it's not even so much even unspoken, it's a pretty outspoken group within this country that just wants to withdraw from the world scene.
And that's probably Trump, right? Put America first, right? Withdraw from the global stage.
Right.
That'd be Trump's first.
That was Trump, but I think Jim's right, but I think it started before Trump. He was the one who kind of pushed it, tapped in. But I think America's looking to let's take care of our own, and I think
that's the theme he kept repeating. Yeah.
Well, and I think there's a lot of people who think that.
I really don't know. I don't even know if it's let's take care of our own. It's because I don't think that's the choice. It's a false choice. We can spend money in Ukraine and take care of our own if we would just decide what it is we want to do. You can spend money on the border and support Ukraine if you just decide what your policy is on the border.
But there's not an unlimited bucket of money. Maybe there is.
There is.
We've obviously
that's another discussion.
We've just seen this for the last 20 years.
Yeah, good point.
It is a good point.
And the money you're going to spend in Ukraine and Israel is irrelevant, almost an accounting error.
Yeah, a rounding error. You're right. But I think what we're going to run into as a country is that the interest rates go up. We're going to have a problem with the economy. Now that could be 2 or 3 years down the road, but the interest rates now, and they're not coming down. It's kind of funny to listen to people about the last 20 years and thinking this was normal.
Right.
The interest rates were not normal. A 2 or 3% mortgage was not normal.
We got so accustomed to that. We just thought that's the way it was always going to be.
Yeah, this is way easy money.
Yeah.
I remember when I'm sure I've told you guys this, but in the building business, if interest rates stayed below 10%, mortgage rates stayed below 10%, business was good.
Right.
10%.
And we're not even close to that right now.
No, but I mean that's how things have changed.
Yeah, that's how things have changed.
Well, what's happened now? It's gotten to 8%, but everybody's assuming, well, it's going to go back down to 2.
Right.
And it's not going to, is what your point is.
No, I would never say never, but I don't see in the foreseeable future, and I will say that our lifetimes, barring some catastrophe, I don't see it going down to 2 or 3% mortgage. That was unheard of.
No.
Was unheard of.
I agree with you. It's not healthy even. Obviously it's not, because it's not sustainable.
And you get a lot of people doing stupid things when money is so cheap. Yeah, it was free basically.
Yeah.
If you tie this into the argument of foreign policy, so to me the crux of foreign policy is, will we be able to safely withdraw from the world without negative consequences?
No.
I agree.
So therefore, you're saying, okay, we're going to stay engaged at the world. It's going to cost us money. How much of our current budget is it going to cost? And what are the long-term consequences of that investment? And to me, that's a kind of evaluation you have to make. So we got here not just because of Biden. We got here because of Trump. Actually, we got here starting with Bush. Bush, then Obama, then Trump, and now Biden.
In what?
spending.
So we spent our way up to this point, and now we're trying to figure out how to allocate whatever money we're getting. We figure we gotta limit our spending and just work within some sort of constraints.
Sure.
Okay, and we got to solve problems within some sort of constraints. But then we have to figure out what are the things that are working against that. So you look at, okay, we're going to do, the Green New Deal, which is going to hike up the cost of energy, which is going to add to inflation. I'm not even arguing that, and I'm not arguing against climate change, but you got to figure out, if you believe the climate is changing and that it's caused by CO2 emissions, you have to come up with a plan that is going to help you address that. That isn't just some knee-jerk blaming the coal and oil companies.
I agree.
Which isn't going to happen.
Right.
Because like we talked last time, there is no plan. There will be no plan.
I thought I read that Biden's opening up a pipeline or something. Did you see that? They approved a pipeline.
I think that, and that's,
whoa, that's quite a shift.
Yeah, but again, it almost seems like, what would be smart politics? Let's open up a pipeline. His smart politics, let's build another 50 feet of wall. This is the way I read it, and I just don't think it's any part of a plan.
No, there is
it's knee-jerk.
It's how can I get a vote?
Yeah.
How can I get a vote right now?
And people have to to me, I'm really on a soapbox now, but let me say this.
Dr. Jim on a soapbox?
We have, the goal is, if you believe the goal is to reduce CO2 emissions, tell me how you're going to do that when 1.4 billion people in Africa decide, you know what, I think I would like nice home, a decent home with heating in the winter and air conditioning in the summer. I'd like a nice little car so I can get,
A to B.
get around. I would like an infrastructure that would support that. I would like an education system that will allow me to educate my kids. And I would like a healthcare system that would allow me to live a decent life.
And can you throw in a flushable toilet too?
Toilet.
Can you throw
toilet, yes. That would be, is this all this too much to ask? And I am, as a card-carrying progressive Democrat, think that's excellent. Okay, how much energy is that going to cost? And where's the energy going to come from? Oh, windmills. Okay. How many windmills do we need to get those 1.4 billion people into decent homes? And where is the money going to come from to build the windmills? And in countries that have dysfunctional governments at best.
And where are you going to get the wire for these transmission line? We
Where are you
don't
going to
have
get the metals to build the windmills?
And that's China.
Right.
And China is going to do it with their coal-fired plants. It's
as far as Africa is concerned, China's going to solve the problem because they're buying up everything in Africa.
Well, China's got their own problems now.
I know.
Right, but you got to you buy these metals. To process them is very dirty and is very energy intensive. So that's going to take energy. Mining is going to take energy. Producing fertilizers to feed these people. Fertilizers come from petrochemicals. I mean, there's no plan. I'm not hearing any plan, global plan.
Okay, I'm going to make a prediction.
What's that?
And I think you'll start seeing this slowly, that the electric car mandates and some of these green mandates are going to be, I'm going to say rolled back.
Pushed back
because we're going to we're starting, and you're starting to hear it now. We don't have the capabilities to do it. It's a great idea everybody.
Yes.
It's a super idea. I'm in, and again, like you, global warming or climate change, put that aside, okay, for a moment. If we really want to do these things, it's going to cost too much money. People aren't going to they're not buying the electric cars. The people in Africa want homes, and they want the things that we have. I think you're going to see the green initiative slowly go by the wayside.
Yeah, you don't have, first of all, the technology.
Bold prediction.
The technology is not there.
Right.
It's never mind to you could talk about spending an infinite amount of money. Nobody has figured out the physics how to get this thing done efficiently and on a global scale.
So you think that it's more practical to build electric plants?
No, I think it's probably more practical to.
You talk about
in
building,
Africa.
Oh, the power plants have to be powered by what?
Right.
Nuclear.
Nuclear
Nuclear.
is a possible solution.
Yeah.
That's certainly a solution that is so politically hot.
That's the problem, but it's workable.
It is.
You know,
It is
like a Gen 4
reactor, whatever.
safe, that would be a solution. But you're right. It becomes a political issue, and then you get Greta Thunberg.
She's the savior of the world, isn't she?
What her and yeah. And you know what, Jim, it comes down to, and we talked about this, there was nobody, you know, you got the Trumps and the Bidens, you don't have anybody who people have confidence in.
That's true.
That will, okay.
We haven't seen that in a long
it ain't
time.
there. It ain't, maybe it was never there. You know?
It probably was never there in the sense that the world was not as so integrated and as complex as it is today. And therefore, I think it requires someone who understands the complexity and understands how to bring some consensus, how to deal with some of these problems. Whether or not you believe in CO2 emissions causing global warming or the degree to which it causes global warming, to me, that having that debate is fruitless, because that's the direction the world is going. And so, okay, let's just accept that. Now, what's the plan for dealing with that problem? Whatever they want to do, all of it, I think, is, electric cars. I would love to have a car parked in my driveway that was, I didn't have to get gas in it. I just plug it in at night and I could go out and all that good stuff. And I could drive to Florida.
Well, that's the key.
Yeah, you would do it. Yeah, you do it in a minute.
I have no problem.
No.
You have to have that sort of that's what you think about. And you have to think about how are you going to elevate those people in Africa. There's 8 billion people in the world. 6 billion of them are poor. Okay? How do you elevate those 6 billion people into a livable quality of life?
And you know what happens is that if we don't do something in 10 years, we're all going to die. That's the crap that you hear. Remember Al Gore?
Oh yeah, the doomsday clock.
Well, I think the doomsday date is already passed.
I think so.
It's passed.
Yeah, that point of no return, right?
No return.
I mean, at that point, it's all hopeless.
That was about 10 years ago.
That's what you hear. That's what passes as leadership
I know.
today.
There's a fundamental lack of leadership, certainly in this country. It's a topic for another day, but I see it in business, as well. I mean, it's just, we're training leaders to drink the Kool-Aid. We're not training leaders to have confidence in their own gut feel, their own instincts, to maybe rock the boat a little bit. Everyone has to toe the line. Everyone has to. Maybe the Republicans are a little different story, but you got to follow the party line.
No, I don't think it's Republican, Democrat, Mike. I think at this point, what it's come down to is that if I say something against the orthodoxy, the internet just crucifies me. Somebody can sit in their basement and say,
"You're nuts.
Dave's an idiot because of this," and then the press picks it up, and you just get this. Twitter and all this other crap. It's the internet is the best and worst thing that's ever happened.
Right.
Or I guess social media is a better.
You look at, and whether he's just really good at presenting his image to the world, and he's as corrupt as the rest of them. But I look at somebody like a Jamie Dimon, who runs a company that just, regardless of the economic environment, continually strives, moves forward, and is successful. So I think, and Mike, you asked a question, I think, about how companies, how how companies don't really look at their employees as resources.
Yeah, they don't trust them.
No, they don't trust them. But
Yeah.
that comes. But to your point, but what that is, you breed out. Companies seem to breed out dissenting voices. They don't like if you're
Innovation.
Or innovation. Yes.
Yeah.
If you bring up an innovation that's going to cost the manager some piece of his empire, but it's for the good of the company, it will be
Squashed.
It'll be killed.
Yeah.
So you have. This is why I've always sort of felt we don't need antitrust legislation because companies will kill themselves with this kind of behavior. And they do. Now, the problem, I think, with antitrust legislation is the people who are really successful innovators and wind up dominating the market get punished.
I find it funny how they're going after Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, what did he do wrong?
Bezos?
What did he do?
I saw an interview with him and said, you're putting out all these mom and pop shops out of business. He said, you know what? If I don't do it, someone else is going to. I want to give customers the best end user experience.
Right.
And it's like, I guess I'd rather have someone with that vision than a company that's just going to come in and just muck things up.
And he's right. Mom and pa, Walmart put out mom and pa. I'm in. I understand that. But are we better off?
It's more convenient.
Is it more convenient? Are we better off as a people?
As a consumer.
As a consumer with that.
Am I getting more choice with cheaper prices?
Right.
Yes.
And that's what we want. That's ultimately what we want.
And it's easy. Push of a button. And it's delivered in 2 days.
Yeah.
Or the next day. Or the same day.
Why are we responsible for someone deciding to go into a business that is no longer viable? Okay, I make horseshoes. Put the cars out of business because I can't sell my horseshoes.
Yeah.
This is the kind of mentality that just don't romanticize the mom and pop places.
Well, I think that's exactly what we've done. We've romanticized this thing and, they're going out of business. I always felt if we didn't add value as a company,
right,
there was no reason for us to exist.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Just you could buy the stuff somewhere else, okay? If we didn't give you something special, something that you needed, we didn't deserve to be in business.
Right.
But it was up to us to find that.
Right.
It was up to you to find it and convince the customer
that
you're better off spending 10% more and working with me.
Exactly.
And if you can't do that, then you don't deserve. You don't
deserve to be in business. I agree with you completely. But that's capitalism, and capitalism is a dirty word.
Dirty word, exactly. And actually, just for everybody's information, the only person can speak with any authority about this is the Reverend D here. He ran a company, and
you guys were in.
Yeah, but we weren't in the C-suite.
We didn't have to make the decisions you had to make to keep the company viable.
Don't be humble about it.
Well,
you made the company successful enough that it was bought out by
a bigger company,
a big organization.
Yeah, because they were desirable.
Who now shows up on.
On your mailbox.
No. They show up on Bloomberg.
Oh, yeah.
So
Dave was on the cover of a magazine, too, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
He's got
you have it up on your wall?
It was a Sinatra pose. Don't you have the jacket over your shoulder?
Yeah.
Do you have it? You have a poster? Have it on your wall or something?
No, we did for a long time, but Kate took it down.
Oh.
She said,
she was ashamed of your.
She
was ashamed of your capitalist past.
How many can say that they're on the cover of a business magazine?
Exactly.
Not too many people.
So anyway, I'm dropping back to say somebody at this table is a referee for the, shall we say, the naive thoughts that Mike and Jim would have.
That's true. Dave's credible in this business
and
discussion.
This stuff. So if he says we make sense, then we're okay. We'll continue talking till we begin to make no sense. But the thing what really galls me in this discussion about capitalism is the crony capitalism that we get out of Washington, where they pick winners and losers and just go with whatever is the most expedient political choice that they could make.
You just said the political. Yes.
And they support that kind of capitalism
Well, this is
That
okay.
to me is where you give capitalism a bad name.
Right.
I mean, there should be some sort of regulation. Capitalists are not necessarily pure.
Right.
Or they're pure in the sense of what they're trying to do. They're trying to maximize their own self-interest.
Right.
But they're not, which is not necessarily always the best thing for the local community or the individuals. And that's where government has a role to play. If you're making a product that's dumping arsenic into the
Right.
local drinking water, then obviously you have to be corrected in doing that. But it's a place for regulation and the government, but it's sort of to protect the consumer and not to direct the economy.
You know, Dave really hit the nail on the head. There's just a lack of leadership, and
But Mike, we've talked about that for.
No,
it
I
goes
know.
back to the last
presidential
thing, and it's still there's just nobody.
No, because you got Biden pushing for aid to Ukraine, but most Americans aren't in favor of that.
Oh, I disagree. I think most Americans are. It's just, I don't even know that that's important. I mean, leadership means making the choices that aren't necessarily
That's a good point.
going to poll well.
Supposedly they have the bigger picture, right? Their position.
Yeah. So all of this discussion this is where that discussion about leadership comes in. You have to have leaders, and the leaders have to develop plans, and they have to be able to sell them to the voter.
That's what we don't have.
Every time you got a speech from these people, they're trying to turn it into whatever their political advantage, what would be to their political advantage. Like, Biden could get up there and talk about Israel and talk about Ukraine and then talk about how the Republicans are opposing everything we try to do in the world and
it would be MAGA Republicans,
Right.
There's always got to be that little jab
At MAGA Republicans.
The
The only thing I'm just reminded that, and I don't know how much of this is just Republican talking point, that maybe this mess in Israel was exacerbated by the $6 million we gave to Iran. So I don't know if it's a policy failure or not, and that's probably pretty subjective.
Well, that was something that was not popular. I mean, I'm assuming.
Well,
that was to release the hostages. He bought the hostages.
Right. I think what Obama and Biden try to do is, if I'm nice to you, you will be nice.
And that's never the case.
It just doesn't work.
Doesn't work that way.
With Trump, the thing Trump had going for him, and would they have attacked Israel with Trump in?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Trump wouldn't have given him $6 billion, though, either.
No, but that money was that.
Drop in the bucket, Jim.
Well, but that was too quick. I mean, that was like a month ago. So okay, we got $6 billion now. We're gonna go after Israel.
Yeah.
I don't think that. But with the thing Trump had going, he was unpredictable.
Yeah.
But I don't think Hamas would have cared about him.
I disagree with you.
I don't think he would have. They did this because they're desperate. They're becoming more and more irrelevant within the Arab world, and they see Saudi Arabia getting close to signing a deal with.
That's true. I think that
with Israel,
I
that pushed that
there.
forward, and then there is this, just getting back on stage with whatever it is their agenda is.
Are they funded by U.S. money? That's my question.
Well, a lot of people say they are, in the sense that we are. We send aid to the Palestinians. Where do you think that money goes?
Yeah.
It goes They're the ruling party. What do you think? The money has to somehow go through them, and they're gonna. I'm sure we paid for a lot of those rockets that went off in Israel.
But you know what? It's the history of the United States. Sometimes we have to fight battles of our own making.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I think we're still the world's policemen.
Yeah.
As bad as we are at doing it, we have there's some degree of order in the world because of us.
And it's unfortunate, and it's going to cost us money to do it.
But like Dr. Jim says, we just print more money.
We're going to do that. It's a question of, recognizes what we're doing and fold it into some...
Right.
It has to be tied together.
That's leadership.
And you can't do that. If you can't, you got to do that on a global scale. or at least try to do
Try
it.
to do it. Yes. Yes.
And that's obviously so many things on a global scale are out of your control.
Our leaders are not very adaptable because I want to get elected.
That's number one.
Yes. You're right. Number one is I want to get elected again.
Doing my job is secondary.
Yes.
If I can do a good job, that would be nice.
We probably need to wrap this up. So, in summary, it's just a lack of leadership.
We're in a quandary.
We're in a quandary.
But we will bring to some resolution the great beer.
You know, that's our value add.
What we can do for the world.
That's what we're going to do.
That's our contribution.
There you go.
It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I gotta work on my closing lines.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I said I was going to come up with somebody.
I'm disappointed.
I know. I feel like I'm letting you guys down.
You should go with the original for a change, you know? Illegitimi,
non-compliment. No.
Carborundum.
Non-carborundum.
Carborundum.
Illegitimi, non-carborundum est.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom?
Boom.
Good?
Boom.
Music by War on Drugs, as found on the Internet Archives, archive.org.